Hey, what is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Well, as I did say this morning, I did have an incident last night with my knee that caused it to start swelling and filling with blood since I did have surgery 2 weeks ago, and I'm still in bed. I still have to keep this thing all elevated to get this swelling down, but I did want to make sure that I gave you guys this XRP update, as we could be looking at the possible formation of something pretty great right now. So with that being said, of course, let's go ahead, let's jump into today's video. So with what we're seeing from XRP is it's looking like a very similar setup to what we're seeing with ADA. Now, the good thing about that is, of course, is that what we're seeing from ADA is absolutely phenomenal. Of course, this establishment and setting of new all-time highs, and the setup itself is looking very similar for XRP. Now, let me explain why, and then we'll talk about price targets, breakouts, and things like that. So let's talk about just what we're seeing. So we're going to be looking at a few things: our price, our EMAs, and our RSI. Just keeping it real simple today. Well, pay attention to this setup, okay? So we set this high here. We came down and we set our high here. Now let's go over to ADA and let's take a look at how we did it similarly. So we set our high here. We didn't set our high here, okay? Well, now let's jump over back to XRP and we can see from there, from this high, we set a nice higher high way up here, but we set a lower high here, which was a sign of some bearish divergence, which of course was followed by a pullback, as we did expect. When we go back over to ADA, we set a nice higher high here. We set a lower high on this RSI, created that bearish divergence, led to a bit of a pullback, right back to that 50 EMA, just like on XRP, right back to that 50 EMA. Well, from there, our RSI then took a little bit of a dive, gave itself some room to grow, of course, and went all the way back down to about 39 on our RSI. When we go to ADA, we gave a good old fall right back down, right to 39 on our RSI, a very similar level. Well, then what happened on ADA is that we came up, we started working our way back up, worked our way right back into overbought territory, and came to set this new high. Well, what we're seeing on XRP is that we're just slowly lacking a little bit. We're still making that same similar move, but we're just slowly lacking a little bit. And now, if you do look at this trend line, of course, let's go back. Let's go to XRP one more time. We can see that we have a trend line here that we still haven't met yet. We look at this. So we still have a little bit of upward momentum. So will we maybe necessarily hit right into overbought territory? I'm not sure. It depends on how we interact with this trend line. But from what we're seeing from ADA, it just goes to show that these setups were very similar, in that what we can be looking at is that there still is a lot of upward potential from this point forward to go up and set that new high. And so what we're going to talk about today is, where do we go from here? What are a few options? What are a few outcomes? And what can we expect? Well, what we're going to talk about first is what we need to see for us to see a breakout, okay? So all we're going to do is go from our swing high, boom, down to our swing low, boom. As you can see, it's creating a bit of resistance at our 786, which is about $1.29, right at this line right here. And I'm going to price label that for you. So we can see that our massive resistance, our 786 resistance, is going to be strong, and of course that's where we want to break out of. If we're able to break this line, hold it as support, I do believe, again, that we're looking at probably in the short term, very near term, after that happens, $1.43 to $1.54. I think that's very possible and very likely. Now, what we're seeing is a bit of a pullback right now, right? We're starting to see our RSI kind of roll. We're starting to see the price roll over a little bit. So let's talk about, should that be worrying, and what we can expect, if we do see a bit of a pullback. Well, a great thing we can do is use ADA, for example, as it has been leading this wave. It's been leading this move. So all we got to do is, let's go ahead and let's look at what happened here. So we go swing high down to swing low, and we can see something very similar happened. We came off this low, off this 50 EMA, worked our way back up, found some resistance at the 786, just like we're seeing right now for XRP, resistance at the 786, before coming back down, establishing some support on our EMA and our fib levels, to then see the breakout to our 1.618 fib extension, which again looks like somewhere around $1.54 for XRP. So what that means for us is that if we do see a rollover, what we want to see, again, is going to be a bit of a pullback back down, probably into these fib levels, somewhere around here, and an interaction with our 20 EMA and our 50 EMA. And now we've been talking about these pullbacks, right? We've been talking about these dips. We know how important these dips are, especially in just pure support establishment to make a break for the upside. Now look at this video that I posted just 2 days ago when we were talking about our previous level of support and how it could lead to some upward potential. Of course, our first level that we're going to want to find some support at, which we're losing at the moment, but if we do go ahead and zoom in, you guys can see we're kind of losing it at the moment, but of course, if we could recapture it, would be phenomenal. Is going to be where that previous high is again at about $1.09. So as you can see, just in that video alone, we were talking about some support, and we were talking about establishing support at the $1.09 mark, which was right here. We were making this move, kind of losing it a bit, but we found it, and once we established some support, we saw the upward growth of 16 to 15 to 16% just from that support establishment alone. And so, of course, as you can see, these levels that we're establishing support at are very important in allowing us to continue upward. But the whole game is once we establish support, we have to clear these very, very important zones, which are going to be set by our fib retracement levels. So what we're looking for again is how do we start to retrace? So as we do go ahead and say if we do start to see a bit of a fall here, as you can see again, that's our breakout target, $1.28. We start to come back down here, that's when we start to flip this thing. We go swing high, swing low to swing high, and we see, can we establish some support here? It's no coincidence that we're seeing our EMAs interacting with our fib levels. Look how our 50s in our 618786 and our 20 is in our 382 to 0.5. These levels right here, right? And so if we do come back down, look for this interaction of support. Now, if we do lose, if we come back down and lose $1.10, I will make a video as soon as possible, because at that point there are breakdown targets. Then we're looking at a potential fall all the way back down to maybe even about a 91-cent XRP, which of course is not optimal. So our bare minimum right now that we want to establish some support again is about $1.10. But if we're able to do that, definitely be looking to see, can we clear $1.28, use that, boom, rocket fuel to start to see upward projections. Now again, guys, if we are able to do that, still, my price prediction for where I think that this price can still be going is an execution of at least our 1.618, which is about $1.53 XRP, with the high top price prediction right now of 2.618 at $1.83. From there, that's still a possible growth of 40% to our 2.618, and still a 20% growth to our 1.618. There's still loads of possible, upward momentum here. We just got to make sure that we capitalize on it, we keep an eye on our RSI, and we just see that it's still moving as we'd like it to. And now with that being said, of course, we can see multiple things. We still, on our MACD on our 4-hour, have loads of room to move, right? We just crossed back into bullish territory. If we look at this thing on the daily, for example, we still have room to grow. We still have upward potential. Look how high up we've been on the MACD in the past. We're not even remotely close to that on this swing back up. Even if we look at this thing on the weekly, for example, we just got into bullish territory. So there's for sure still some room to work. We just need to see that we're clearing these important levels, that we're getting the the momentum that we'd like to, and that the buys are still outworking the sales, and that we're clearing these levels to work to our Fibonacci extension levels. So again, pay close attention to $1.28. If we start to roll over, pay attention to these two EMAs on the 4-hour, 20 and the 50. If we start to lose this support there, look for $1.10. And if we lose $1.10, be looking for a video, because I'm going to update you on where we can expect it to go from there. But again, if we do clear $1.28, I think that at minimum, $1.43 is going to happen relatively soon. So with that being said, guys, that is going to be about it for today's video. Of course, I hope you did enjoy. I will try to keep you guys as up to date as I possibly can on what we are seeing from the charts. And if anything big does happen, I will let you know ASAP. So with that being said, you guys have a fantastic day. I'm not 100% sure what the schedule's looking like, when I can get out of bed or anything like that. But if you do want to know and keep up to date with that, join the Patreon. That is where I do talk a lot in there. Of course, the link is in the description below, or you could just simply follow me on Twitter, as I post a lot of updates there as well. So with that being said, I will see you all in the next video. Peace.